Today's lesson is using tables to identify proportional relationships. Our goal is that we use tables to identify whether or not the relationship between two quantities is proportional. All right, vocabulary. Two quantities are proportional if they have a constant rate or ratio. The constant rate is called the constant of proportionality. Remember that you are to pause, rewind as necessary, and that if you have any questions, make note of those questions so we can answer them, go over them in class next time we see each other. Okay, we will use or create tables to determine if two quantities have a proportional relationship. An example of this, you need to determine whether the cost of coffee is proportional to the number of pounds. If the relationship is proportional, identify the constant of proportionality. Step 1. Use the order given in the question to set up a ratio. Since the problem asks whether the cost is proportional to the pounds, we set the first ratio up in that order. So it's $3 for 1 pound. We can see that here because we've got 1 pound is $3, 2 pounds is $6, 3 pounds is $9, and 4 pounds is $12. So our ratio is $3 for 1 pound. Step 2. Find the unit rates of the other ratios by simplifying them to see if they are equal to the first ratio. So we look at those to see $6 over 2 pounds. Does that simplify down to, if I divide 6 by 2, I get 3 over 1? Yes, so that works. The next one, I've got $9 over 3 pounds. So if I simplify that one, 9 divided by 3, I get 3 over 1, right? $3 over 1 pound. So yes, this one works. And then our last one, I have $12 over 4 pounds. And if I simplify that, 12 divided by 4 gives me 3 over 1. So it's $3 over 1 pound. So yes, that one does work. Okay, so the constant of proportionality is the first number of the unit rate. So in this problem, the constant of proportionality is 3. Okay, moving on. So now we've got our example. Determine the number of legs if the number of legs is proportional to the number of spiders. So first, we've got to write the given ratio in the given order. So we're looking at the number of legs to the number of spiders. So it's the number of legs to the number of spiders. So it would be 8 to 1. Okay? So we write the first given ratio in the given order. So it's 8 to 1. We find the unit rates of the other ratios. So we would have 16 to 2, and if I simplify that, divide both of those by 2, I get 8 to 1. So that one works. So I guess we should check that one. Yep, that worked. Then I have 24 to 3. So if I simplify that, I divide both 24 by 3, and I get 8 to 1. So that works. And then my last one is 32 to 4. I divide 32 by 4, and I get 8 to 1. So that one worked. All right. So then, if the relationship is proportional, find the constant of proportionality. So these all simplified to be equal to my given ratio of 8 to 1. So the answer is proportional, and so my constant of proportionality is going to be the 8. It's my numerator. Or it's 8 over 1, so it's my numerator in this case. All right. My next example. Determine whether the distance traveled is proportional to the time traveled. If so, find the constant of proportionality. Write the first ratio in the given order. So again, we're looking at distance traveled to time traveled. So distance over time, okay? So it's 50 over 1. So then the first one, we're going to do 70 over 2. Well, if I do 70 divided by 2, I get 35 over 1. That is not equal to this. These are not equal. So, is this a proportional relationship? No. The constant proportionality is none since it's not a proportion here. Okay? All right. Now you get 2 to do on your own. Now, remember, the expectation here is that you are going to pause this and come back and then watch me do it. Unless you're completely confused, and then you can stay and watch, you can keep going, but you still need to pause and think about what you're doing. You should never just be copying down what I'm doing. You should be watching and listening and thinking through it all. Okay, so from these two tables, we're going to determine if the relationships are proportional or non-proportional. And if they are proportional, what is the constant of proportionality? So let's look at the cans of water to the concrete. So if you've noticed, we always look at this as 4 over 1. So then we would look at 8 over 2, which is, if we simplify this, we get 4 over 1. We would look at 12 over 3, which simplifies to 4 over 1 when I do 12 divided by 3. And 16 over 4, which when I divide 16 by 4, I get 4 over 1. So the answer to this one is yes. And my constant of proportionality is 4. All right, this one over here. I look at this stuff up here. I've got 8 over 1. And then I've got 15 over 2. Well, when I do 15 divided by 2, I get 7.5 over 1. So this is none. There is no constant of proportionality because that is not a proportional relationship. Okay, well, hopefully you enjoyed our lesson today. And if you have any questions, you will bring them to me next time we see each other in class. Until then, enjoy.